Well, here we are. Time for Dad to yet again obliterate another innocent human. Let's do it. I don't want to hurt you, but I have to anyway. Ethan crossed the line, now baby has to pay.
Huh. So Dad calls that music, huh? Well, in the words of one of my role models,
alrighty then.
what's going on, everybody? It's me, Super Dave, and you guys are watching MILTOWN's Best. Today, guys, we have a lot to talk about, and as you can tell, we're talking Dad Bod. Dad Bod, the boxer. Dad Bod, the boxer who knocked out AB from the H3 podcast and started a whole bunch of drama. That's what we're discussing today, guys. And boy, oh boy, is this story a doozy. But before we get to that, we have an epic bout I want to talk to you guys about. This is the battle of the MILTOWN's best mascots. That's right, you guys heard that correctly. The MILTOWN's best mascots. As you guys know, for the past God knows how long, I have been using the traditional spaceman as my logo. You usually see him in the lower left-hand corner of my screen. Well, he's not there anymore because he has a new contender, guys. As I've been coming ingratiated into this community, I've come to be known as Milhouse. As sad as that is, guys, I've learned to lean into it. I put my artistic talents to work, and by that I basically mean I put some words into an artificial intelligence art prompt, and I was able to get a new mascot out for y'all to see, and I really think you guys need to see this. So basically, guys, I'm very proud of it. It's my attempt at me being Milhouse from The Simpsons. So we have the MILTOWN's best spaceman going up against the MILTOWN's best Milhouse. How awesome is that, guys? And of course, I do graphics for this stuff. Boom! It's the battle of the century, guys. Who will you choose? Do you like the classic spaceman, or are you a fan of my version of Milhouse? And guys, Milhouse best, Milton, Milhouse best, Milhouse. It all has a ring to it, and I'm leaning into it, and I think this has legs, guys. Who do you guys want to reign supreme and represent this channel? Is it going to be my boy Milhouse, or is it going to be the spaceman? Let me know, guys, by casting your vote. And also, while I'm doing housekeeping, we also got to talk about my big, well-researched video. I'm diving in deep, guys. I actually wrote a script, and this thing is like almost 12 pages. And what is it on? Of course, the topic of my next video is going to be the origins of the commentary community. Seriously, guys, I've been watching YouTube since it launched, and I have been a super fan for quite some time. So going back in the history and learning even more about this stuff really shows me how far YouTube has came. I remember just being a youngster while I was watching some of these videos. We're going to be talking about names like Zay Frank, Philip DeFranco. We're going to be bringing out the old school nerd fighters with the Vlog Brothers. We even go into depth on Shoe on Head for a minute. It's going to be an epic piece, guys. And like I said, as I'm now just editing it, I want this to be good, guys. This is kind of like my coming out party. This is my attempt at trying to put quality into the community, as opposed to just being myself and putting out these type of videos. And I know me just rambling here is basically a video all on its own, but I need to give you guys some substance. So that, my friends, is why we are going to be talking about AB and Dad and Ethan Klein. The problems these men have been having. I want to talk about it, and I even want to watch a little bit of what's been going on, because basically Ethan Klein just came out and talked about this on his most recent podcast, Off the Rails, which of course airs on Wednesdays. It's a pretty good show, if I do say so myself. Ethan Klein has really been pumping out the content, and again, guys, we love that. We love when people pump out content. And in this show, 48 minutes, I'm serious, guys, 48 minutes is how long Ethan talked about this whole situation. I'm pulling it up right now on the Shill Machine 3000, and we're gonna go to it. I did not pull this directly from the H3 podcast because you guys know Ethan allows his content to be re-uploaded and shared amongst the community. So I found a brand new creator who's specializing in H3 content, who was actually able to pull all the content relating to this AB Dad Ethan Klein beef, and that's what we're going to be watching today. So if you wonder why it has such low views and such subscriber count, that's me showing some love to the small creators, guys. That's what I do around here. You gotta put respect on it, bro. I love the small creators, and I don't lie when I say that. So let's dive into this right now, y'all, and see what Ethan is really talking about. Something tells me he has a legitimate beef, but we'll only be able to tell. I don't think I'm going to be able to commit to 47 minutes, guys. That is just too long. And honestly, I don't have enough hard drive space to actually hold that much footage. So we're going to skip around a little bit. I hope you're okay with that. But I think we're going to hit the key points because overall, I basically think this is an L for Dad. And we just got to be real and say that. I feel that this was not Dad's place to say anything. But you'll see what I mean, guys. Let's dive in.
Talk about the allegations!
Dad has been popping off about me and AB.
He has been.
Just like for no damn reason. And I don't understand what is wrong with this guy.
AB.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, what could be wrong with that guy?
And like,
You know, guys, I've been doing a lot of research for this origin of the commentary community video I've been doing, and I gotta admit that Dad has a lot of elements to him that remind me of Zay Frank. Tell me I'm lying, guys. I don't know if you guys even remembered Zay Frank, but he was like the originator of this whole deal, man. And Dad and him have a lot in common, and I think Dad is using a couple plays out of the Zay Frank playbook.
I don't want to go in on him too hard, and I don't want anyone to give him a hard time. But you know how it is with when it comes to things about me, is that there's so many people that hate me on the internet. When something like this happens and Dad starts saying all this shit about how we made him cry and he just cried a lot. And no, he said, I don't know. He's saying that we were super mean and that we sabotaged him and that.
Right there be proof that some people would use to say that Ethan isn't talented. But guys, he has a lot on his mind right now. This is a complex situation that he really didn't want to talk about because honestly, the subreddit pushed this topic and that's why Ethan's addressing it. So that is not showing a lack of talent or a lack of vocal ability. It's just him trying to think before he speaks. Remember that, guys, before you pass judgment on good old Ethan Klein.
That I'm a bad person and stuff. That people take it and run with it and build all this whole crazy narrative. So my policy on all these things, since years ago, when the whole internet turned on me, when Keemstar made this whole propaganda campaign, is to always address this stuff when it comes up before it turns into a thing.
Yeah. It's still a thing with Keemstar and Ethan. This has been going on forever, guys. It is like one of the longest standing beefs in this genre. And hey, man, I guess they both made money off beefing with each other. So I don't know if that's a win or a loss. But I guess we'll find out in the future who reigns supreme in this beef battle.
And I just want to say I was very disappointed when I saw this. It hurt because I always, I consider Dad to be a close friend. I still do. So this was very surprising to see.
I like how AB has become more professional as the years have progressed. He's really grown into himself and has gained confidence, and you could see that in his mannerisms and the way that he dresses. The way he even talks to his wife, Lena, shows a man that is confident and feels like he has gotten somewhere in life. And I like that. It's a look that he wears well, and I just hope he doesn't do something stupid to break down all this hard work he's put in. But I think how he's coming at Dad right here is like a man. It's how a man would talk to another man, It's not no petty, beefy, shticky bullshit.
I literally just put out a video prior to seeing these clips saying nothing but good things about Dad.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
And that's valuable.
Yeah. I know we got a little caught up in the moment. I admit that.
I know you guys don't like hearing about Hugin, but Hugin knows the value of his name getting out there. That's basically what I was saying on Xylee's stream about how Keemstar knows to keep his name out there. It helps keep you relevant. It helps keep you in the cycle. And, you know, so for AB to even be mentioning Dad, it's kind of a tip of the hat. You know, it's kind of validation in a way. And to be backhanded, you know, slapped when somebody is giving you kudos, it's not right in my opinion. It really leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
But when we came back, we gave him all the love. I made a tweet about him. I invited him on the show. He said no, which again, he really. Okay, where do I start with this? Yeah, there's been a few posts on the subreddit, people being like, "Yo, what's the deal with Dad?" Let's start with this one.
The H3 subreddit is an interesting place, guys. I used to frequent it all the time until it became a toxic environment, guys. And then I just said, screw it. I'm gonna kill the town, and I started posting my Milltown's Best videos on there. And I did a couple of pro Keemstar posts, a couple of pro Salvo posts, and before you knew it, I wasn't allowed to post anymore. So I don't know how Reddit really works. I'm not a Redditor per se, but it is a very interesting place. The community there is bonkers. One day they love you, one day they hate you. So I'm amazed that Ethan can keep this group of people in line and kind of on the same page. It's impressive in all reality.
One about AB, which I thought was so out of pocket. And I'm not. The reason we're only talking about this at all is because of the shit he said about me. That's pretty wild. But here's Dad talking about AB after the fight. Or this is from the same stream. Here it is. Let's take a look.
Partners purposely don't go super hard because they're protecting you. So you're training. You don't want to get knocked out before your fight. So AB's punches were the hardest I experienced. But after he punched me, I was like, oh, this is nothing. I can take these all night. That's why I took them and just worked on his body. But I think
that's what somebody says when they get their shit rocked but don't want to admit to getting their shit rocked. I've watched the fight, guys. If I wasn't worried about getting a copyright strike, I would seriously post this fight because AB was actually, while his form wasn't perfect, he was throwing some powerful punches and he was going hard, and you can see the shock in Dad's face, almost like Dad thought his narrative was the true narrative. And what is his narrative? He thinks AB wasn't taking this serious and didn't trade hard enough. But we'll get to that, guys.
He would have punched harder if his form was better because he was throwing straight up windmills.
Dude, that's like so corny, bro.
I agree.
To be shit talking AB, like, first of all,
he's not Muhammad Ali by any means. You know, he's not even, what's the guy's name? Roy Jones Jr.? He's nobody. He's Dad. Dad bod. Whatever Dad bod. I mean, he's got so many gimmicks running right now. Is he a man? Is he a robot? Is he a dancer? Is he a comedian? Is he a performance artist? Is he a vlogger? Is he a streamer? Is he in the commentary community? Is he not? I mean, Dad's got his fingers in so many pies. I mean, it's crazy. He must have rainbow fingers.
You won, yeah.
That's it. You won, bro. You got the dub. You're gonna come out and like shit on your opponent, who, by the way, trained super hard. And by the way, dude, as tough as you want to act, your ass was scared as shit.
I agree. And I hate to say this, but Chris Jericho once said when he was a young wrestler in the business, he was cutting a wrestling promo against an old veteran. And while he was cutting this promo, he said, "You're old, you're fat, you're lazy. I'm going to beat you. I'm everything you're not." And then he said the opponent that he was wrestling pulled him aside after seeing him cut that promo. And he said to him in the realest, most serious way, "You should never talk down your opponent." You want to know why? Because when I beat you, and I am beating you, you will be the one to have lost to an old, lazy, fat, out of shape man. So it's always best to build your opponent up as opposed to tear him down. And I feel like Dad is not showing that decorum, not showing that class, and it really makes him look petty. And I don't know Dad on a personal level. I don't know a whole lot of his content. I've seen his major videos that put him on the map, but besides that, All I'm seeing is somebody who really is a clout goblin. And we'll further dive into that as we go along here, guys.
I saw you.
Yeah.
We all saw you getting your ass beat out there in that first round,
And
brother.
people who are saying this is a bit, I messaged him myself yesterday, responded to me saying same thing and saying that it came from a place of him being upset that he trained so hard and I didn't. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like,
Yeah, I don't think this is a bit at all. I think if confronted, Dad would say it's a bit, but I think there's always elements of truth in a bit because that's what makes it compelling and that's what makes it interesting. The blurring of those lines is what draws people in. So honestly, this is good content, and if it's a work, if they're really working here, this is superb high quality content, and these guys are on the level of WWE or any other professional wrestling company or any other worked promotion. Like seriously, if this is a work, kudos to you, but I don't think it is, guys. I really don't.
like that.
AB trained
I
so much.
I went through hell, and I was okay with the loss, but hearing shit like this, when I initially heard it, Lena was live on stream, and that's when someone sent it to me, and I was like, all right, let's go to a gym this week and let's spar, Dad. If you
That's the mind of a content creator right there. Seriously, AB, good on you, man. Get some money. Make the money off it, man. Pull it for, juice it for all it's worth, pal.
want to have a camera, it's up to you. I don't give a fuck if you want to do it or not. But after seeing more of this, that was when I thought he was just talking about me. But seeing him talk about Ethan and everything too, I was just like, all right, I'm
Like I said, he wears the confidence well, guys. He wears it well.
not getting involved.
And
in
sweet
this. It's
shirt,
never gonna
AB. Can we all throw it up for the Olivia Soprano shirt? Seriously, if you've ever seen The Sopranos, you would love that shirt. Mama Soprano was the biggest gangster of them all. And these little nods that AB does to entertainment that he likes is awesome. You know what I'm saying, guys? Kudos to Olivia.
And but it was
This
very
is not a
disappointing.
bit.
Yeah.
In fact, when it is a bit, he says it's not a bit.
Yeah.
You guys remember he got all butthurt about the chair thing, which he continues to bring up. But here, let's continue about the AB thing.
Yeah, that chair thing was a big thing to him, I'm sure. I'm sure he looked at that as his way of kind of becoming a third-tier cast member of the H3 show. So by throwing some money at the situation in what he thinks was a clever bit, as he calls it, that would land him a regular spot on the show. And it did the exact opposite of that. And I think Dad knows that Ethan had him scouted. He knew what he was doing 3 moves beforehand and didn't let it go through. Like I said, guys, when you mention somebody on content, that's a valuable thing.
There's more than a bit.
He had trained. He streamed. We saw him. He streamed every day. He did a 48-hour stream 2 weeks before the fight.
Why are you bitter? You won. He sounds bitter. But first of all, that's such bullshit, bro. You can stream and train. You're not training 24 hours a day.
The stream that he's talking about, I left twice during that stream to go work out, and I started
That's
it right after I
awesome.
worked out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We both looked like shit. I mean, like, I'm just straight
It
up
was
like we
just-
both. It
yeah.
happens, but yeah, we both looked. I wasn't used to dealing with a fighter like him, and he has a weird style as well. We both looked like ass. I mean,
Because you're not
YouTube
pro
boxing.
boxers.
yeah.
It's not that serious.
But you know what? It makes sense that he he's saying I should have tried harder, but you won. Maybe that is why I lost. Maybe I shouldn't. Whatever you want to say, just take it. Take the win.
You won, bro.
Take the dub.
You won.
What's the saying? Being a sore winner? Seems like Dad's being a sore winner here, guys. Like, for real. I'd never seen anybody do this much complaining with the dub in hand. But I think it's not about the win. He wanted to land a spot on the H3 podcast. If not as a cast member, he wanted to be a reoccurring guest, much like White Claw Gabe or Dr. Idubbz. You know, I think that's where he's seen himself going. And when Ethan put the kibosh on that, we saw the dark, evil side of Dad Bod.
It's not a grudge match. Damn.
When I was like in the thick of it. So I think that's why he didn't do as good, because he would put more effort into streaming this year leading up to the fight than he did training.
Disagree.
I think he could have been better if he had trained as hard as I did.
I completely disagree, Dad. I am not an avid Twitch fan, so I can't speak to how much he's truly streaming on Twitch. But I'll tell you what, his YouTube sure isn't where it used to be. I mean, he's still not quite at 100K, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but his YouTube is slow and steady. And there was no excessive streaming whatsoever. The only time he is excessively streaming is when it's for his job at the H3 podcast, mind you.
Well, to be fair, you have literally nothing going on except for this, so not as easy for him to train as hard as you, theoretically.
Well, and to be honest, I think I trained a lot more than him too. I think he started the last few months while I was doing it long term because he was traveling and stuff. But
and you were at a professional gym, AB. Like, don't you train at Wildcard? I mean, like, Wildcard is like known in the boxing industry. It's like a big time California boxing club. So all the points are in AB's corner for us taking this seriously and treating it like a professional. Just saying, guys, people are really looking at this the wrong way, man.
This claim that you didn't train is so stupid, bro. It's insulting. It's lame.
Insulting, yeah, to a lot of people. Yeah.
Insulting. Perfect word.
Ass off.
Dude, I put
while doing a full-time job, which his ass doesn't have, by the way.
Yeah.
Touche.
I would wake up at 6 a.m., go running. I worked with Ian's coach, Michael Briggs, the whole time. And then and he would send me a new plan every Monday. And then after work, I'd go straight to the gym. And depending on when the show ended, I'd either train there for 2, maybe 2.5 hours. Yeah.
We disabled
the fact that AB even needs to disclose this when he lost the fight says a whole lot, doesn't it, guys? We're talking about somebody here. So that's somebody being Dad, who is out here shit talking because his engagement is low. That's what this basically seems like to me. And we're only 6 minutes and 44 seconds into this video. You guys damn well know I ain't making it 47 minutes. So let's see if we can get a little bit more of what Dad is actually mad about. Because if he is just mad about this chair, there's not a whole lot of substance to this argument, guys.
Able chat, by the way, because I don't want.
I just turned it off because everybody was already arguing with each other in there.
Ouch!
Yeah,
I never seen that happen. Did Dan just turned off the chat? Wow, there must be some Dad fans in that chat. Wow.
It's better just turn it off while we talk about things like this, so it doesn't get all heated. But
too late.
Here we go.
But I mean, it's all hypothetical.
Definitely.
And, you know.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know.
Who's the co-host?
We don't know, do we, anything about what...
How come everybody in this space lately has a fucking Australian female co-host? Man, I need to get me an Aussie co-host. You know what I would do to just one-up it? I'll get me an Aboriginal Australian. I'll get me a full-on, authentic native Australian just to one-up you fuckers. How does that sound? Anybody out there that's a true Aboriginal, hit me up. We got work for you.
He did or
no, I don't know. He never told me what he actually did training wise, but like based on his streaming schedule, and he was live all the time immediately after he'd get home from H3, there was no time for him to be training.
What the fuck,
It's
bro?
just it's not.
It's just
Why are you on AB's nuts like that? I know that was your competition in an upcoming boxing match, but you really shouldn't be paying that close attention to his daily schedule, my guy. It's a bit creepy. Creepier than the whole Dad persona, if I do say so myself. If this is the real you, man, you're kind of one of those internet sleuths, aren't you? Those ones that keeps tabs on their exes for like 7 years. You're kind of giving off them vibes there, Dad.
so not true.
Mm-hmm. I would never stream it before a show day either, so that's how you know that it's off.
Well, right. Well, you trained before work usually, didn't you?
No,
All right, I gotta fast forward this, guys. I'm about done with this boxing stuff. I'll come back when I find a more interesting point. All right, this seemed pretty interesting. I just went back a little bit. Catch this, guys, and tell me if it's not a little sus.
And it wasn't dirty. AB was clinching too.
Yeah, we questioned it for a second during the live stream, and we all clearly didn't know the rules. And then as the live stream kept going, we were like, oh, clearly everybody's doing it. And we
Yeah,
clarified.
yeah.
But even before the fight, every comment that was in support of me, he was responding to. These people had one like, if even, and he's responding saying, "Oh, you'll see," like, and just, I don't know.
That's some Spurgy type shit, man. That's some shit you really do find on the lowest levels of the commentary community. I mean, that is like some Q tier shit. I mean, honestly, I only have 400 subscribers, so I'm replying to absolutely everybody because I'm trying to build a fan base. But Dad, you already have an established fan base. Why are you trying to make it so AB can't grow his? It's like the biggest hater move you can do. And I don't get that, man. That's a little sus, bro.
He's very defensive.
He's too in the weeds because
Yeah.
I don't know. I usually see lots of overwhelming support and love for Dad.
Yeah.
Our own audience, a lot of people say, "I love you, AB," but Dad's gonna win. It's like, okay.
That's honestly what I thought. You know, I honestly thought that Dad was training a little harder than he was. I didn't realize how much showboating. I mean, I should have known that from his fight with Matt Watson, I believe his name was. That, you know, it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of peacocking, a lot of puffing out your chest, and not a lot of technique or training. And I think that AB cracked that code, and the secret on Dad is out, and Dad knows that. So I think he's trying to do whatever he can to keep the spotlight on him. And these are just real thoughts coming through my brain right now, guys.
Whatever.
Also, it's a competitive sport.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be trash talking and stuff. Like you.
But he's the one
Guy
that
wants to get into the WWE.
Bro, he's the one that comes to the weigh-in with the picture of AB's grave on his underwear. Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's what I'm
That's
talking
another
about.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
like-
he has merch with my gravestone on it. Like, why do you get to dictate what's a bit and what's not a bit?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. I made a video speaking on this, AB. If one person can make a narrative, anybody can make a narrative, and I say the narrative with the most views wins. I think had Dad been a little more professional and spoke to AB, which maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know Dad like that. But maybe he should have cleared that with AB beforehand. Like, hey, man, I want to get some trunks with a gravestone with your name on it. I think it would be good for views. You know, you can act like you really hate it. You know, work, guys. This is like pro wrestling shit, guys. That's what I was saying when I was on the Xylee stream. It's like, this could be so worked and it could be done in truth. But people aren't professional enough and aren't with it enough to understand that. So shit like this happens and then they got to scramble and turn it into something, which it's like a never-ending cycle, which is the commentary community, guys.
I don't understand that.
Exactly.
Way that they are, some of them, most of them
This
are
bit
fine,
suffers.
but unfortunately the trolls and the mean people have the loudest voices.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's also just the way the full actual H3 crew reacted. They were like incredibly mean to me.
That's
Grow up,
it.
bro.
That's it in a nutshell right there, guys. He was upset that they didn't like him. And I know that feeling. I know what it feels like to be a fan of somebody and hope and think that, oh man, this person and I would get on great. We would have, you know, the best of conversations. And then when you finally meet that person, it's the exact opposite. You know, there's nothing in common. You find out that person is a true ass clown and you want nothing to do with it. And maybe there's a little bit of that in this. Maybe there's some professional jealousy going on. And there's no reason for it, Dad. There really is no reason for it. We haven't even got to what you started saying about Ethan Klein. We're just getting there now. So I'm going to give this a couple more minutes, guys, before I bail on it. But you guys can see where Dad's coming from here. It doesn't seem like he is acting in good faith with a lot of this. It seems like a lot of bitter, a lot of jealousy, and a lot of resentment when he himself has all the cards.
Dude, they were watching someone they're with every single day of their lives fight. You
Yeah.
did the same thing last year to Brett.
And possibly be very injured.
I was really
concerned.
worried about
Yeah.
him.
I was really worried.
And by the way, again, it's like, dude, grow up. I immediately retracted it. We need to play baby time for Dad. Dad actually turned out to be the kid.
Right.
Well played, Ethan. There's that knowledge of radio production. There's that knowledge of audio where he knows that he needs that backing track. And Zach is usually right on top of that, and it seemed like they were working in unison here. It's another prime example of why the H3 crew is the best in the game at what they do. And I know that's like a minor point on the side note, but I notice production stuff like that, guys. And the H3 is on their game, except for Olivia, but we'll get to that another day.
Baby Barnett.
I don't know.
Such a weird situation. Like,
It is. Well, and the only reason listen, he knew that this is what would happen, because this always happens whenever this started to get tons of traction on our subreddit, and then it becomes a thing, you know. And then Keemstar makes a 3-part documentary about how I destroyed Dad's life or something like that.
Have Keemstar pull what Dad pulled by squeezing in on content that he really had no place to get in on the first place. But like I said, when you ask for viewer participation and interaction, you can't control who participates, and you should be welcoming to all viewpoints and all people. And that is something that I think Ethan still is working on. And we all aren't perfect, guys, so it is what it is.
You know.
After the fight, when I was saying nice things about them, they were just ignorantly rude and horrible. Just
they were
because I
working.
won.
Wasn't
you understand they were on air, right, Dad? Like, you're an entertainer, right? I'm so confused sometimes watching these people. It's like, do you know the business you're in, bro? Ay.
That serious.
it's
Also, I would like to add, we couldn't hear his speech after.
I'm just gonna say it, Olivia. Lately, you add nothing of value. I feel like you're so much like me. You stumble over your words more than you get them right. And hey, man, with practice, you'll get there. And I'm sticking with you as you get better and better. But I'm enjoying your journey. But any attitude of superiority, it should be dissolved. You should come from a place of humility. And I think that sometimes you lose that. And while you are confident in your looks, I think you could be a lot more confident in your verbal ability. I think that will just happen with time. And I wish you the best, Olivia. You do add an interesting viewpoint that the show needed. The show needed more females. And when you hopped on board, Ethan kind of went full board with bringing in more female representation.
Words, because we were all talking and texting, and we lowered it because we were trying to figure out what was happening with AB.
Yeah, I was afraid. We thought our friend was dying.
So we weren't blatantly
Is that okay,
ignoring
Dad?
something that was playing. We genuinely didn't hear it happen.
I thought he had ruptured an organ and he was dying, Dad. Is that okay with you?
Is that what is
All right, guys, I'm going ahead a little bit. You know how Ethan said earlier that Dad turned down going on the H3 podcast? Well, as I skipped ahead a little bit, they had this to say, which I found super interesting.
Of course, we wanted to talk about it on Monday. He was still traveling, so we said, Dad, call in. He was meant to call in, and then he sent AB a text saying, you know what? I don't think I want to call in. I guess because he's so upset. So
No, it's because he wanted to be buddy and come in the studio so he could use that for more clout, more stability, and to help bolster his newfound ego.
Why would you say I didn't invite you, bro? And again, not that I owe you that anyway.
Me on the show, Ethan just kept always saying, "Oh, we gotta get Dad to call in." Hundar was invited.
Dude, you said no.
Jealousy.
He's acting like it was an empty invite. We literally like 3 people messaged him to try to get him to call in.
Call in. Hundar was invited on the show to chat and hang out. I wasn't.
Okay, well maybe I like Hundar more than you.
Honesty.
That's
honesty. This is the H3 podcast. He doesn't owe Dad a guest spot on the H3 podcast. He doesn't owe Dad a reoccurring spotlight on the show. It's just preposterous to assume that you can just write yourself into another person's content and receive absolutely no pushback and get to have it your way 100%. And not just 100%, 110%. Dad seems like he will settle for nothing less than his way. And that isn't cool, man. That's just not cool. You know, guys, I want to keep going on with this, but I got to tap out. I got to tap out. I don't see anything here that is truly of value or of substance. I am amazed that Ethan Klein was able to milk 48 minutes of content out of Dad just being a little whiny bitch. Seriously, Dad, what are we gonna do with you? I just don't know. You're picking fights with Ethan Klein. Since this podcast aired, I do believe Dad issued an apology tweet to AB and said it was nothing personal towards AB. He spoke out of turn about AB. However, there was no apology in the direction of one Ethan Klein, nor do I expect one will be coming, because honestly, guys, Dad is one butthurt individual, and I don't expect Dad to be appearing in the World Wrestling Entertainment anytime soon, because they have a hiring freeze due to their sale of Endeavor, and Dad's views aren't what they used to be if he keeps pumping out shitty music videos like his attempt at taunting Ethan and AB. He's got a long way to go, my friends, and this isn't me eating sour grapes, guys. This is me just telling it like it is. I see this whole situation as Dad trying to glom on to a more successful podcast in hopes of staying relevant in this industry. And tell me I'm lying, guys. If I'm lying, I'm dying. With all that being said, guys, I just gotta remind you that the Spaceman could still be here tomorrow. Or maybe it won't be. Maybe the Spaceman will be gone and it will be replaced with our good old friend, my Millhouse. Y'all know I'm doing the good old-fashioned mascot vote. Y'all check out the community tab. Make sure you cast your vote for which mascot you like better. Do you want me to stick with the Spaceman, or should I go with the MILTOWNSBEST Millhouse? With all that being said, guys, I love you. Tell somebody else you love them, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.